And welcome to Shadow of Love. This is your podcast for all things love and in the age of dating on Tinder and chaos and dogs and cats falling from the sky as we try to navigate such a complex and crazy thing that love is. I am your host, Holly, with my co-host, Ernest. Say hi, Ernest.
Hey, and happy birthday. Hi, Holly.
Hey, I want to thank Gene Stovall and Matt Hudson for our intro and outro music. It is the track You Should Love Me. You can find it on Spotify. So thanks to Gene and Matt. And welcome. So this is our little brainchild baby, our Shadow of Love podcast. It has evolved, right? Ernest and I have known each other at least a decade and a half. We came out of this amazing creative space called the Shadow Lounge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was a co-owner, Ernest was our bar manager, and we've, been keeping in touch for the past 3 years. We ran into each other very randomly at a bar and didn't know who the other person was for a while. And then we've been doing these random text moments, for the past couple of years. And recently I was just like, I think we just need to make this a podcast at this point because we're funny and it's fun and we have things to say. So welcome to our little endeavor. I am a Yinzer in the deepest parts of my heart. I'm a writer and intimacy coach. I live in the Southwest Desert. And I'm a Taurus who likes music, television, and great white sharks. Ernest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ernest. A little bit about me. I'm from Pittsburgh, but I spent my formative years in Flint, Michigan, and survived that experience. That by itself is an amazing thing. Big up to Flint. Moved back to Pittsburgh in my late teens. And my background is in hospitality management, restaurant management, hotel management. I'm a Southern cuisine chef. So basically, if you can cook it or you have to stay overnight in it, I know how to run it. Um, I'm a deep lover of soul music, classic soul. Stevie Wonder is my favorite singer, followed by Aretha because and then Donny Hathaway, in that order. Um, I love old cars, love old movies, and I love old women.
You're just an old soul.
I'm an old soul. I've been here before.
You got
I really
the hat
think,
to match and everything. People
yeah,
can't see it, but let me tell you, he's got the hat and glasses that match.
yeah.
Now the button-up
I,
polo, it's there.
I think I was a pimp that was murdered in like 1978 in Kansas City.
He's reincarnated.
Yeah, if somebody yelled out Silky Slim, I might turn around and answer.
That's what's up.
Um, but yeah, I want to thank, like you said, I want to thank Justin and Gene and Matt and for really blessing us and being supportive of the show and lending us the logos and being a supporter. That means everything to me for this. We wouldn't do it if Justin wouldn't have, the guru, the Don, uh, wouldn't have blessed it. So big up to Justin and thank you so much.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you, Justin.
so
Why are we here? Like, why are you bothering to listen to us, just ramble on and on your free time? We between us, we've got 5 marriages, a lot of experience.
one marriage, 2 marriages. Yeah.
We both are the product of what we call shadow lounge marriages, where we met our former partners, at the lounge or found ourselves hooked up to them at the lounge. And products of the Shadow Lounge divorce, and we have Shadow Lounge babies. And I don't know, we just everyday ordinary people trying to figure shit out, and figure we, know you are too, and just want to help you all along if we can, because
Yeah.
we can help ourselves, so we might as well help other people.
This is yeah, this is going to be, it's cathartic to some level, but like you said, we're just regular folk, sharing, and hoping that folks can find, uh some of what we say to be relatable. We're not experts at all. We're just two dumb kids trying to figure it out in this big, big world. Uh, so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it to be we're just regular people just sharing, and hopefully along the way, people will be like, "Oh yeah, I did that too. Oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that." So that's the whole purpose of this, and it's going to be fun getting to get the band back together.
Right.
uh you know it's like it's like the five heartbeats.
Right.
um so yeah, I'm really, really excited. I can't really say enough, um because doing something like this, we've wanted to do something like this for a minute. We've been, I was reluctant at first, but Holly you
I
kept
dragged you into my into
yeah,
my
you dragged me into it, and I'm like, you know what, F it, let's do it. And so I hope everyone who listens enjoys it, finds some humor, takes something away, finds a gem, finds a giggle, you know, and maybe don't try any of this at home.
We're here to save you some heartache.
Yeah, yeah, and some money. Uh, I have two words for everybody out there: billable hours. And that's all I can say on that.
Well, this is
So,
our first kind of, endeavor out. And so for the show, we just wanted to kind of set up the parameter of, for us, like, what is love, right? What does that mean to us? What does that mean in the context of our lives? So we have this textbook definition that love is an intense feeling of deep affection or a great interest and pleasure in something. So, Ernest, for you, what is love? What does that mean to you?
man, to me, like, love is holding somebody in the same regard and that you have for yourself, and valuing them the way that you value yourself. Um, love is corny. Love is, deep, soft kisses. Love is hugs. Love is lugs. um, love is lugs. Because I'm a shoe head. But love is, to me, is just caring for someone the same way that you would care for yourself. um, Exhibiting, displaying um, things that let them know that they mean something to you in your life. Um, and I'm kind of mushy. To me, like, love is, I can't really explain it because I get shy. But it's having a person in your life that you feel that they make your life better, and you make their life better, for as long as you can, while you're together. Boom. Um, yeah, you know what? I get shy when I talk about love. I could talk about food all day.
Well, I don't think it's something we really talk about in a non-romantic context, right? There's this whole other responsibility and business of love that we never really get to explore, or that's not really, I think, out there for us, especially when we're growing up, when we're younger. We have what we see growing up with. And for me, that was probably not what I would call the most kind of positive feedback in terms of my family dynamics and what I saw as the structure of love. But, there's this whole other end of things where, you are beautifying and bettering each other, and that should be the goal, without changing each other ideally, right? Or without trying to push change of that core person. But also, you know, the choice to get up every day and choose love and to make it, to me, it's not just this noun, it's this active verb. It's a choice you're making every day in and out, that you want to get up and love somebody. Because once you stop making that choice, like that shit just falls like down into a landslide of a pit of despair, and it's just, there's no getting it back.
No.
And so I feel the same. It's about that wanting to just have someone to share your life with, and to share your interests, share your challenges, have that support. But I think it's just harder than people make it out to be. I think that, you watch all these movies about people falling in love, but then, like, where's the movie about where you're at like 3 a.m. with a screaming baby and you both haven't slept for 2 weeks, and the niceties are kind of off the table. That's a whole different it's a whole different
Yeah.
we don't always see. And so I think it's interesting to explore and talk about that. I think that love is much more than just the affection and the pleasure. It's about accepting yourself too, right? Because you really can't love someone unless you accept yourself first. And boy, that's hard to do in this.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have to get therapy even, before you start dating.
I would recommend it. I think for my own kids at this point, I'd be like, as much as you can do that work first, you'll be better off, in the long run, because it's just easier to kind of pinpoint what you want by who you are once you figure that out. And I mean, I know I didn't figure out who I was probably till my mid to late 30s, really. And even then, I feel like I'm finally in my 40s now, like hitting that stride really hard. And maybe that's just the progression of life and that's how stuff goes. But I don't know if it's just generational and how it's handed down, and that it could change for younger generations. Cause I would love to see my kids not have to struggle with a lot of that in the same context.
I think there's always going to be struggle in relationships. I think that they've changed over the years. I look at like our grandparents as far as how they loved each other was different from the way that I do it now, or I've done it in the past. Our grandparents, a lot of their relationships were based on the need for another person, financial security, housing, and all that stuff. I don't know if you have grandparents that of their approach to love was, I put food on the table, I put clothes on your back, and I put a roof over your head. I love you. You know what I mean? But they don't share, they don't say I love you, but their acts of going through maintaining you is the way that they show that they love you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's not actually voiced aloud often and enough. You know what I mean? I can't really speak on, you know, I'm old school. I'm not a dinosaur, but I was raised by one. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of old school um, stuff in me, but I try not to practice it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm a '70s baby. They don't even make parts for me anymore. So like you can't get nothing on the 73 right now. You got to special order that. So no, I just uh, the way that I have practiced love has been more, what's the word, vociferous. Like I say that I love, um, and I let people know that I love them. Even if I'm, you know what I mean. It's different now. I think people are more okay with saying how they feel as far as like voicing love and Um, the display is a lot more different. It's far more free now. I hate to say free love, but it's far more free for people to express love um, now than it was when I was younger. So part of me, I'm still learning how to do that, how to do the new love. You know, the Blu-ray love. I'm still doing VHS love. So you know,
Do you think it's more free though, or is it just that people have a choice now, right? Because like you bringing up that point about, the providing of financial security and housing, like my great grandparents on my mother's side, both, were products of arranged marriages, I believe. So like my great grandmother came over from Yugoslavia when she was 17 years old, and she ended up in an arranged marriage with her first husband. They had, I think, 7 children together, 5 of whom survived. And then he died of tuberculosis. And then she shacked up with a boarder at one point who lived in her basement, and then had 2 more kiddos. They're all boys. Like I grew up like with
wow,
all these uncles, right, from my grandfather. But I can, she at one point like told my mom, like, don't marry for love, marry for money. I mean, it just, that dynamic is so different when you look at the context of, for me, what women had in terms of choices. They really didn't have a lot. So you had to have like
no,
that date, and love was not necessarily, I think, part of that equation. And that's so wild to me. I remember in high school, I had a friend, she was the smartest girl in our class, and she was Indian. And she left our school, I think it was my sophomore year, because she had an arranged marriage in India and she did not want to go. But it was that tradition. And it just, to me, like, I still think about her and I wonder what happened to her and if that worked out and she was able to finish school. I mean, she was incredibly brilliant and incredibly kind. And just that thought of having that freedom to choose now, right, and be able to display things because you actually feel them, I think is a really interesting concept.
there's
But
a lot more. Yeah, that's a whole show. There's a whole lot more. There's a lot more independence in it. Um, I come from a large family. My grandmother, my mother's mother had 13 kids. Um, I have an aunt that's like only a couple years older than me. You know what I mean? She's like the sister that my grandma had. You know what I mean? So growing up in that and seeing how, my grandparents did their thing, and seeing how like some of my friends' parents did their thing, it was real old school. And then in my family's marriages, some of those old school echoes, you know, it's a ripple effect, it's a wave. So now I'm more like, there is a lot more independence because there's more people. Women work just as much as men. Um, there's a lot more equality involved in marriage these days, which is real important. Um, so the new thing is much better than the old thing. That's the only way I can put it. Um, no one's really bound to each other because of financials, unless they want to be. You know what I mean? Like this woman or this man is like, oh, I can't leave because of blah blah blah. you know um you can fall in love just to be in love. You know what I mean? Just to have somebody special in your life without any of the I need this person
the
for
business.
security. Yeah, the business deal.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you take this paycheck? I mean, this man. So I'm digging the new thing. I have a lot of optimism about the new thing.
All right.
Um,
How
I celebrate it.
Yeah, me too. What was your first love experience? When was the first time you felt that little pitter patter in your heart and it
I felt more than a little pitter patter. My first love, and I don't like to say names, but it's important that I say this name because every brother knows that Keisha crazy. That's all I got to say. My, my first love was my neighbor. Um, she lived across the street from me. Actually across the alley from me because like our house was like off the street, like on the street, but there was an alley between our house and hers. She lived in a pink house. Um, her name was Keisha, and she was the first girl she was the first girl I ever kissed. Um, we were we would go behind our house, like we had like three trees behind the house on the side of the house, and she would take me back there and we would kiss. Every time we saw each other, if we could, we would go back behind a tree and kiss and do the show me yours, I show you mine kind of thing. Um, I didn't know if it was love. I didn't, you know what? I knew it was love when it was over. Um, and all these things come to sad, sad, tragic ends, I remember she told me she was moving away, and I was holding her hand when she told me this, and I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm moving," and I was heartbroken. That was the first time I ever felt. And she was so fucking cute. Oh man, she was so fucking cute. I saw her a few years ago at a cookout, and she's still fucking cute. Oof, you know. But I was already
You're
involved.
listening, Keisha.
If you're listening, Keisha, if you're listening, this one's for you, girl. Um, no, and I remember she moved away, and I remember, and it was like a fucking movie. I was standing in the street, like watching the moving truck go down the street, and she got in her family's car, and they drove away, and she was looking out the back window, like waving, and I was like, oh, yep, that's my heart's broken. Um, that was my first. Yeah, that was the first girl I kissed. The the first little, you know, grab ass I ever had was her. So yeah, that was my first time getting heartbroken. Didn't know I was in love, but I knew when it was over how bad I felt. So and I was like 7. And it's only gotten worse since then.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it gets more sad and expensive with every relationship.
Yeah.
Uh,
Welcome to adulthood, right?
how about you? So you got to tell me. I told you mine. You got to tell me yours.
So I had just moved to Pittsburgh. I kind of grew up in rural Pennsylvania till I was 10, and then my mom got remarried and we moved to the city, and I grew up on the north side. And um, I had this neighbor, and he was, I'm a pretty nerdy person in general. That's just my thing. I love to read, and I've always been pretty intellectual. And so I had this neighbor who was similar. He was very bookish and kind of shy, and he had this crush on me. And I grew up with just having a lot of issues with kind of body image and stuff like that. I have a lot of trauma from when I was a kid. Sure, we'll get into that at some point in one of the shows. And so it was like, wow, there's this guy who's interested in me. He was kind of cute. And he gave me my first flower, which was a purple iris, still my favorite flower. And we had this like really kind of very innocent first kiss, in the alleyway behind my house by the city steps. You know how everybody has like city steps in Pittsburgh somewhere. So
Yeah, yeah.
we had ours, and I remember coming home with this flower, and my mom was like, "Oh, who gave you that?" And I was like, "Well, I kind of have a boyfriend, because we were gonna, I think, go steady, or whatever. I can't remember what we called it back in the day. That would have been like 5th grade, so maybe going steady. That might have been appropriate at that time." Yeah, and my mom like shut it down. Like she was just like, "No dating. You're grounded." Boom, and like, oh, I was heartbroken. Like it was over before it even started. And oh, it was just so frustrating and sad. And yeah,
How old were you?
I was 10. And
Oh,
it was brutal. And, we grew up, we were friends throughout high school, and, we hung out together, and he's a great person. I reconnected with him on Facebook a couple years ago. And now it's funny because he's like a real skinny kid, and now he's like all buff and, does the
Yeah.
CrossFit type stuff. And it's
Oh,
wild.
oh, so
People
he's in a cult. So he's a cult member, is what you just said. He's in a fucking cult.
but he's like does like this very intellectual job for a university as a professor. And, I mean, it's kind of cool to see people like, that you knew back in the day, and where they've ended up. And, but, I that was like my first intro into that. And I thought about that for years later, because I really didn't have anyone that had any interest in me till then. I was about probably 15, 16, so. And I kind of just did my own thing too. I was very much focused on wanting to just kind of grow my mind. And even to this day, like I'm someone who's okay with being alone. And I don't think that a lot of people feel comfortable with that. And that's how people end up in situations where, even if it was like just lust or attraction, they call it love, and then it's not really love, but they just don't want to be alone. And I am thankfully not one of those people. Like I'm really good being with someone and sharing that. That's why I said it's like an active thing for me. Like it's something you're choosing, because if you feel at some point it's something you don't want anymore, I'm not afraid to choose that either, and just kind of go it on my own. So yeah.
Yeah, I can go either way with that. I'm really good by myself. I'm cool in my own head most of the time. And I can do, because I spend so much time for my my profession. I'm always around people. You know what I mean? I'm in loud rooms full of people every night, and I'm literally paid to be in the party. So, and doing that for so long, I found that being by myself is good for me. And I don't mind it. I don't mind. I can do it either way. I don't mind being in a relationship. I don't mind spending time with somebody, as long as it's a good time. You know
Right.
what I mean? As long as it's, I'd say, it sounds childish, but as long as it's fun, I'm down. If it's not fun, I'm not coming, and you can't come over here. You know what I mean? So I can do either way. Um,
I like this
I
meme
can,
I saw once that said something like, I'll only have you if you're better than my solitude. And that's pretty much me to a T right there. You know.
yeah, yeah. Like, is it work? Because literally, I remember when I was working all the time, when I was still in Pittsburgh, um, I wouldn't answer my phone on Sundays or Mondays unless you were a family member, and a family member in good standing. You know what I mean? Like, don't call, like, oh, no, I'm not. He's still, that motherfucker owe me $35. So no, no, you got my $35. So no, I really valued my alone time. I still do. Um, I can hole up, um, and just read a good book, or zone out watching. I don't know how this happened, but I became a Rick and Morty fan, so I could sit up and watch a Rick and Morty marathon, and drink bourbon by myself, and have the best time in the world, as opposed to, or I can go out and be in a room full of people at a bar or a club, and have an equally good time. It's all about how I feel in the moment.
Right. Well, I mean, I've gone, I don't think that it's very common, I think, for a lot of women to be in a space where they go out alone. But I mean, I've always been that person. Like I've never had that little gaggle of girlfriends, like I might have a friend here or there, but I actually usually prefer, because I kind of like to run my own show. Like
Yeah,
I like to be in charge of where I'm going to go, who I'm gonna fuck with and deal with at any given time. Like, I don't like being dragged into other people's stuff. And
no,
if I get dragged into it, I'll generally just be like, all right, I'm out. So I've always kind of had that mentality of being by myself. I mean, I'm the type of person who would take a book. I've taken my computer to a bar to sit and write just so I had background noise.
You would be the woman I hit on, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'm like, I'm taking her home tonight. I am going to take her home tonight if I possibly can. And if I can't take her home tonight, I'm going to plant the seeds of a sex tree. And I'm gonna, this is because here's the thing. It's a challenge to get, you got the whole go fuck yourself with the computer open at a bar. Like, I'm busy, but I'm here to drink and I don't want to be bothered. I'm like, I accept that challenge. I'm going to take that challenge.
Yeah.
I accept that challenge. You've laid down the gauntlet.
It's funny that men
I'm gonna.
think like that though, because I think that if I saw someone like a guy in a bar, that I would be like, oh, I'm not going to bother them because clearly they want their time to themselves. It's just an interesting dynamic that.
No, that's a challenge. That's a challenge. Like, what is she doing that is so important that she needs to be in public, drinking and working? You know what? I'm gonna sleep. I'm telling you, and I've always in my single days. See, this is my disclaimer. Let me put my disclaimer. And you've seen me work before, so I can, I accept the hard challenges of life. Like, if you want to be that antisocial while in a social environment, I'm going after you. I need to know. Um, Most dudes will be like, nah, I'm not gonna bother her. But that's just not how my mind goes. I'm like, because when you're a bartender, um, you kind of pick up on things better than people who are at the bar. Like, if you work in food or in beverage or whatever, you kind of pick up on that kind of stuff. So bartenders, and this is true, I'm not going to give up all the tricks, but bartenders sleep with women who do that kind of stuff because there's a challenge there. You know what I mean? And we're just arrogant that way.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I think bartenders have that kind of mentality, and you have access, right? So you kind of get to see
Yeah.
what's out there and what's like average and usual and maybe not so much. What other differences do you think women see like with love compared to men? Like, what have you found that you feel is not quite lining up? And I have to give my own disclaimer because you gave one. And I just need to apologize to the audience now. Like, pretty much all of my love stories are going to be really fucking sad and generally end in like unhappiness. So just be prepared now that if I launch
Oh.
into a story, that is not going to leave you warm and fuzzy. But that's my disclaimer for the show. Go for it.
Oh no, I think sometimes it doesn't. You know what? Uh, Flat fucking out. It never lines up. Just period. It does not line up. It never will line up. Everybody's expectations are and values are different. So you gotta kind of find some some kind of balance or some kind of compromise just to date somebody, yet alone fall in love with somebody, because the person you fall in love with may not is not going to be perfect. Like, you may have a checklist of shit, um, but you got to make sure that you get enough of that to say, okay, I want to be with this person. I'm cool. Um, and accept the things that are off your checklist, the boxes that aren't checked. You have to say, I can't make this person check these boxes. I just have to take this person for who they are now. Maybe those boxes will get checked, but don't think to yourself that those boxes are going to get checked. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times when men do it and women do it too. You know, I dated a girl real quick. She was pretty. She was pretty, real pretty. And I was single, and I was at the lounge. Met her, real pretty, um, pretty enough that um, you could take her anywhere. You know what I mean? It was real. I was vain back then, so the things that I didn't like about her, I couldn't get past. You know what I mean? Just couldn't get past. I didn't know how much She drank, and I didn't know. I'm like, here's the thing. If you walk out of the bathroom and I say, hey, you got something on your nose, like, what? I'm like, cocaine. You have a lot of cocaine on your nose. You, your nose is basically your nose is cocaine covered. This isn't going to work for me. Um, and I look past her being a decent person and blah blah blah, because there was the two things that I couldn't get past on the checklist. Some people might look at that kind of thing and say, "Oh, well, maybe I can change her." No, you can't change her. No, you can't change him. You can't add more. A person is not like a car. Like, you can't put rims on it. You know what I mean? Like, we can't put rims on it. It's like, we are who we are. So you just have to find that happy medium of stuff that the bullshit you're willing to deal with. It may sound sad, or it may sound, crass, but it's the truth from a man's point of view.
Right. No, I mean, I think that there's always concession that people have to make in terms of, I don't think there's a perfect love out there. I think that you have people that draw you in more than others, but I don't know. What for you would be like your top three things if you wanted to experience falling in love with someone? What would be your top three things that you feel would be so integral to that happening that you would have to have it?
That I would have to have that person.
Well, they would have to have, though, what would be the top three like qualities or expectations you would have that they would have to fulfill? Because
Loyal.
right?
Yeah, there has to be. Yeah, loyalty, honesty, and really good sex.
That's fair, right?
That's just, yeah.
I think
Loyalty, honesty, real good sex.
I think for me, the trust is the number one thing. Like, that's just something that, you have to keep and maintain. I think the sexual chemistry also for me has to be there and be sustained. And I think that's also a big generational difference from people back in the day, where it was all about just procreation and fulfilling maybe one side of that equation's needs and not the other. And it's a whole different time now. So
Yeah.
women want that shit too, like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And then I think for me, the third is like consistency. Like, I didn't realize when I was younger how important consistency is. Like, you got to show up day in and day out, and you got to like show that you can show up and fulfill your end of whatever bargains you're making in that process. And I think those would be my top three for sure.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck, Holly. Love is work. Here's the thing. This shit is work. God damn. There's no union. You know what I mean? When you get hurt,
listen to this podcast and be like, well, fuck.
Fuck that. This is, no, for real. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And people, I think when you get into it, it's so fun getting into it that, um, I'll give you an example. Went on a date with a woman, beautiful. To this day, she's um real dope to me. We went on a date over in the South Side, and it was like March, and it was like, how like when it's halfway raining and halfway snowing, it's like right at that point right there. And we had a great first date. It wasn't really supposed to be a date. It was like, come have a drink with me, hang out, get to know me, I get to know you, blah blah blah. And so, we walked out of this club, walked out of a bar, and we're on Carson Street, and we're like in the middle of Carson Street on a late Friday night. So, there's traffic going both ways. And I pulled her in, and it's like halfway snowing, and, city lights, and kissed her. And it was one of my best first kisses of all time. Like, we didn't care about the traffic, we didn't care about the people. We must have stood there kissing in the street for like maybe a good 3 minutes. I mean, deep. I like, you can't write this shit kind of kisses, uh, um, but the relationship ended with her getting arrested and my house getting trashed. So, you know what I mean? Like, so it starts off beautiful. It starts off nice. You know what I mean? it starts off with deep embraces and passionate, lustful sex and all of that good stuff. Like, but it ends with the cops. It always ends with the cops. It always ends with the cops.
It,
Uh,
it's
you know,
like you start it with, the fanciest kind of DSLR, camera
yeah,
capturing the moments, and then like it ends and it's like one of those little wedding cameras in the
yeah.
paper
It's so it's
box. You
it's
can't
the
focus.
it's yeah. So when your grandma's like, hold on, baby, I gotta get the flash. Like,
Right.
oh, come on, grandma. Oh, yeah. It ends like that. It doesn't always end like that. I'm not saying it always ends like that, but that's an example. I'm pretty good on the startup, but I'm not that tail end boy. So I'm starting this. I think when I start to date, I'm just gonna say, would you like to date me for 6 months? You know, like to date me for 6 months. I just need you'll enjoy yourself for 6 months.
Right.
You know,
I asked you to pick out a quote about love to kind of just, I
yeah.
want to kind of see what you came up with, and what your insight is. Like, what is your feeling of love?
When you're younger, you're full of a lot more wait a minute. I don't want to, because here's the thing. We're both grown ass people, so people need to understand that we're grown as hell. Like we really are grown, and we are veterans.
Right.
We are veterans in this shit that we talking about. Like, don't think that we're like, we're not millennials in this piece. Like, Gerald Ford was the president when I was born. No, Richard. I'm sorry, Richard Nixon was the president when I was born. So, and yeah, I'm old enough to tell you that Kojak is my favorite show. So, um, my experiences over the years, I'll be a hopeless romantic until they throw dirt on me. Don't get me wrong. I'm always going to be optimistic. I'm always going to, be open to things. So, but when you get older and you have different experiences, your value about love kind of changes. Your outlook on it. So I found this quote by one of my favorite authors is James Baldwin. Since I was like a kid, he's one of my favorite authors.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I know like there's so many people either trying to write like him or write about him. But I found a quote, and it says, quote, love does not begin and end the way we seem to think it does. Love is a battle. Love is a war. Love is a growing up. And I'm
Ooh.
like, yeah. I'm like, well, damn, Jane, damn, damn. There's no flowers, no candy, no war. Growing up, I'm like, well, shit. There you go.
Wow. Huh.
How about you?
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. Like, what are you taking to battle then? You know?
Your heart, all the things that you value, because you have to get you're giving a lot and you don't know what you're going to get in return. You know what I mean? Like your heart, when you give your heart to somebody, you don't know what condition is going to be given back to you in.
Right. There's a lot of vulnerability there that you have to,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's almost like, putting up this kind of credit to your soul.
Yeah. It's like,
You
it's
just
like,
hope
here's my,
nobody's gonna like overcharge it and abuse the fuck out of
yeah,
it.
yeah. Like, you get some, I give my heart, say, hey, here's my heart. Uh, Bitch, where did that blender come from? You know what I mean? You got to worry. You gotta, you gotta.
You don't want to be getting back a heart smoothie and shit, right?
Yeah, like, so yeah, that's gonna hurt. So I think it has a lot to do with his his quote is basically, it's a mature kind of thing. It's serious. And sometimes people don't take it as seriously as they should. Um, Love is thrown around a lot.
I think there's nobility there, because if there's something you're going to fight for in this world, like love should be it, really. I mean, it's one of the purest things that we could put ourselves on the line for. So
Yeah.
that's actually quite beautiful.
Yeah. I've had um w- I remember when I was in the fifth grade, and I thought I was in love again. I was in love. I was in love. I loved her dearly. Um, she was, it's always your neighbors. When you're a kid, it's always your neighbors because you don't have a lot of access to other kids. Um, uh, I cheated on her with her best friend. Um, yeah, I cheated on her with her best friend because her best friend got boobs early, right? Her best friend got boobs early. That was the only reason. There's a pattern with me. There's a pattern with me.
Y'all can't
Um,
see it, but I'm just shaking my head.
so what could I do? She had boobs. She didn't. I'm I'm 11ish. So um she beat me up.
You whooped your ass.
Yeah, I had to take that L. She beat me up and threw me into a rose bush. Um, and I'm finding there's a pattern developing with redheaded, light-skinned girls with freckles. I keep getting beat up and thrown into bushes. It's a pattern. I'm starting to see it. I'm like a love profiler, like, oh, yep, there it is.
Wow.
Like it's always hurt. Starts off good, but just don't walk past me with titties. And then we'll be fine.
Good luck with that in an age of implants and
Yeah, yeah. Living on the coast makes my eyes wander. um, so yeah, it's a real mature. I didn't mean to go off, but yeah, it's I guess what Baldwin is saying is you have to be prepared to. There's going to be some sacrifice there. You know, there's going to be, you know, a giving. There's going to be a giving that you might not want to pay, but being that you're already in love, you're already, you're already in it. For how long it's going to last, or how long, or how quick it's going to end, and you're not going to come out the other side the same. You,
right.
you just don't.
No, I don't think you're meant to. I think that you wouldn't learn and you wouldn't do better if you did. And
Nah.
we all need to learn and do better, right? That should always be the goal.
We should write that down.
It's like Groundhog Day. You just repeat this. That's no fun for anybody.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to repeat. I'm not going to do a repeat. I think I'm good. I
Yeah.
think I'm good. I think I am good. I'm just going to sit in this rose bush and, and that's here's the thing, like the whole imagery of just laying in this beautiful rose bush. Like I'm surrounded by these roses, but like, I got like a t-shirt on and my back's all fucked up. And I'm like, wow, is it gonna be like this forever? I felt like Natalie Portman in The Professional when she's like, is it always gonna be this hard?
Right.
And dude turns out like, always.
Well, the fact that you haven't given up hope after that experience, wanting to to carry through in the war, right?
How about you? How about you?
So one of my favorite books is by Tom Robbins. It's called Still Life with Woodpecker. And
Hmm.
this quote has always been one of my favorites for probably the past couple of decades. There is only one serious question, and that is, who knows how to make love stay? Answer me that, and I will ease your mind about the beginning and the end of time. Answer me that, and I will reveal to you the purpose of the moon.
Damn.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's for me, I've probably spent the majority of my romantic relationships and romantic life pondering, like, how do you again keep it going, right? I could fall in love with people in 1,000 different ways for different reasons. I'm someone who really kind of looks at people and I take them for who they am, and I can find, something to love there. But then like the making it stay, that shit's fucking hard. No way around that. And I think it's valid that anybody who really knows that probably knows how all the other shit in the world is working that we don't know. So
I wish that I could bag up love and sell it like Breaking Bad style. I'd be a rich motherfucker if I could just,
Blue Rock
like,
love,
yeah, Blue Rock love, like, got that love. How much? How much are you willing to pay?
right?
Oh, and coming down off of it sucks. So if you're here for more love, I got you. The first bag is free, but
Right.
the I'll give you the first bag for free. But ooh, I wish. See, that's the Flint in me talking about. I wish I could sell me a bag of something. But people always say, well, you got to do this, or you got to do that, or you got to put the time in, and then you blah blah blah. Um, I don't know. I don't know how you do it. I think that you can try to make it last as long as you can, but life tends to get in the way of love. Sometimes life and other people can get in the way of love. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit. People change as we get older. People's values change. People might say like, "Oh, I love you now," but then you know the person that you were maybe 5 years ago, you're not that person now, or whatever. Fuck, like, oh, he used to weigh 180 and go to the gym every day. Now he's a fat bastard who who sits around and watches NCIS or some shit. Like, people change, and that's always the case. So if anyone tells you that they know exactly how to make this thing work or last, I'm gonna call bullshit.
I agree. And then, I mean, my other question to that is, you know, are you aiming to have it stay for a lifetime, or is it a season, right? Because some relationships really don't need to be with you for a lifetime. And I think that's okay. And I think that's part of getting out of some of the generational trauma of love that I know I experienced growing up and watching the dynamic of people kind of stuck together, is realizing that you don't have to do that shit anymore. Like, it's okay to love someone for a period of time and be like, okay, I've gotten everything out of this that we're going to get, on both sides. And it's just okay to release and let go and move on to something that's going to hopefully serve us better, you know, and just, I don't know, maybe it's just not having that expectation anymore that marriage has to last like 50, 60 years, and that you can be okay. And people don't even need to get married anymore, right? I mean, it's a totally different world out there.
Yeah, would I do it again? No. I wouldn't do it again. Not at this age. Um, I think I'm just gonna do. I I may date, but what I'm gonna do is go to bars and look for women with laptops. I'm not gonna use the app to get mine. I'm going out. I'm hitting the streets.
Old school hunting.
Old school. Um, but yeah, I'm not afraid of love. I don't. I think a lot of men of my age aren't honest a lot about love, like how they really feel sometimes, and it makes it all problematic. I've seen friends um, go through divorces, get their hearts broken, but act like they're okay, and I'm like, motherfucker, you are not okay. You're
Right.
not okay. So I'm a lot more honest, like going through love, getting out of love, the beginning of love, the middle of love. Um, but I'll be damned if I don't like the. I don't like. I love the best, like the beginning love. Oh,
That's the key to that. Is just, how do you make love stay, right? If that's your kind of love.
yeah. Like, is this my kind of love? Like, but it's the the problem is you don't have enough time and energy to like keep going through the process. You know what I mean? Um, so like when you're going through that process, um, um, an optimist can be turned into a cynical person over time going through the process because man, that's a lot. I mean, you're giving your time, your body. There's a lot that you're given every time. It's like you're rolling fucking dice, um, a lot. Um,
It's energy.
so
It's energy you put out.
yeah,
You don't always get it back. So it's, yeah, you can't take that back once it's gone.
nah, nah. Um, and it can make you.
It can make you
I
jaded.
would. It can make you jaded. That's what I was about to say. To anyone who's listening, don't get bitter. You know what I mean? Don't get bitter. Whatever you
Don't
do,
lay in the rose bush and just keep
yeah,
yourself there.
yeah. Don't lay in the rose bush. Everybody, get up, get out there, and try it again. If and when you are capable and able to do it, or not. And that's my take on it, Dr. Holly.
Well, with that, we're almost hitting our hour. Man, this time has flown by. It's been so much fun. Um,
Yeah.
we look forward to our next episode. We're going to have a special guest, Dickie Leftfoot, otherwise known AKA as Justin Strong, Jay Strizzle. I don't know, alias after alias, and
Lionel Jefferson.
and I don't know what to tell you about the topic yet, because I think we're going to let Justin pick what he wants to talk about in the context of love, and we'll just take it on the fly. It'll be fun, and
Oh yeah.
maybe tackle a audience, question about love. So if you have anything for us, if you have a topic you want us to talk about, if you yourself have a question about something you're going through, if you are someone who lived in that shadow lounge era and want to hit us up with a memory, we have a website. It's www.sol412.com. And you can find our Insta, Shadow of Love 412. Hit us up. Let us know that, you're out there, and you got things you want us to talk about or things you want to say. And we'll be glad to incorporate that stuff into the show. So this has been fun. Thanks, Ernest.
Yeah. Oh no, thank you, Holly. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
We look forward to robbing another bank next week.
that's right. And just remember, if you find yourself in darkness, we hope it's in the shadow of love.